Well, good evening and welcome back to the Windsock. It's been a few days since I've worked on my Tri-Pacer, and I figured I'd give you guys an update. Um, I've been working towards, I know I keep harping on this, but the full aileron versus the flaps, and I've decided that I am going to go with the full ailerons. And so I've been pouring over these plans and trying to get everything transferred off of the plans using the Lightbox method, and it works real well. And we will switch over to the top camera. Voila. And as you can see, there turns out to be quite a few parts that once you dig into the plans a little bit more, you can tell that there's more parts than what you might think are involved in this wing. Some of it including the servo trays I'm not really worried about right now. I'm going to frame those up, but they do not interlock with the ribs. So everything is a surface glue joint. So I can do those at any time. I'm not really going to worry about that till I get everything spaced out and put together. I was also curious about the sheeting. One way to tell if the part of the wing is sheeted or not is by these little lines here. So you got sheeting on the ailerons and the flaps, sheeting around the leading edge. Oops. And then this wingtip is a solid sheet. So this is a detail of it on the end, and it's also a fairly good detail down here where you can see that it's thicker material, but it is a 1/8 inch balsa wingtip, which is this piece right here. One thing you need to be careful of when you're doing your templates, and these are spars, when you're doing your templates, the ribs are not so critically important as these tip pieces are. So you got your wingtip this way, and then all of these, you got T1 here, T2, 3, 4, and 5. And I've got those transferred here. But when I go to make, this is the right wing panel. When I go to make the left wing panel, I will have to flip these. So I'm going to cut them out with the writing on the top. For these will be the right wing panel. When I flip them over, they'll be for the left wing panel. It's just a mirror image. But it's important, or else, as you see this I guess you would call it an eccentric here. The apex of that, instead of here, would be back here. And you don't want that. It'll look funny and fly even funnier. So that will work. I decided not to do the flaps. Wow. There's a bug in here. Anyway, I decided not to do the flaps, so all of my ribs are going to look like this. They're all going to look like this, and this takes the place of the W3 rib. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it goes to W2, which would be this one, but I'm not using that. It'll be a W3. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then this is going to be an additional rib. Then they go into the W1 rib, which is basically this rib. And the spar box is actually the trailing edge of these ribs. Okay, does that make sense? So that rib will look like that. So now that I think I have everything transferred except for the ailerons, which will be this shape right here, this inboard shape. And I will go ahead and transfer that. Then I'm probably going to put the plans back up. I roll them up and I've got a storage area that I'll put the plans back up, and then I'll start laying out, cutting on the scroll saw. That's going to be a lot of work. A lot of things you got to make sure of there. Scroll saw setup is critical there. If you're doing a stack of ribs, your scroll saw has got to be perfectly perpendicular to the table. So the blade has got to be the table, because if the blade is crooked, it will affect the ribs will be a different size. So I wanted to give you guys an update of kind of where we are in the future as we're laying this out. I will have wax paper on top of the ribs, and I wanted to show you how when I jig this wing up, how great these magnets are to work with. So keep in mind that they're going to be on wax paper, and I'm just laying this out here to make it fairly clear. So that is holding them, and I'll put more on there, but you kind of get the idea. And that's one spar, and the other spar would go sort of like that. Okay? And then the ribs, these notches here correspond with those notches there. And I said this earlier in the videos that it's very important for these notches, when I cut them out of the balsa, to fit snugly onto that spar. It's got to be a good fit. If it's not, first of all, you're not going to get a good glue joint, and the alignment is not going to be all that great. There's room for it to move around. Like I said in the beginning, this is not going to be technically an instructional video, because I said I'm not a master builder by any stretch of the imagination. I have been in this hobby a long time, and I know that when I build a kit, I know what I expect from a kit. So now I don't have anybody to complain to. If something is wrong with my kit, it's going to be all on me. So we want to make this, you know, as easy to build and as accurate. And a little bit of planning. Trust me, I think about this a lot on how we put these together, how the end result will end up, even how simple it'll go together and come apart at the field and transport it. Those are the kind of things you have to think of a little bit in advance. You don't necessarily have to, but if you don't think about it, then you may pay in the future every time you take the plane apart or put it together at the field. So as we go forward, I'm going to go ahead and cut all these out. Then I take them back. It's very important. I'll cut these ribs and I'll compare them to the plan and make sure that everything is fine. There's some spots on the templates that I've made that are not, let's say, they're not perfect. But once I lay them down here and trim them up and get them all nice and pretty on as far as the plan goes, then they'll transfer right over to the balsa and everything will be good. But again, this is not going to be an instructional video. There's a lot of probably what you would consider boring. I consider it almost therapy out here in the shop with not much going on around. I consider this therapy to do stuff, gets my mind off of other things, and it's time well spent, I think. One thing I noticed, all right, here's the front. You see this? Now we're gonna switch to the top camera. See that? Watch this. See if he'll come get it. Come here, boy. Come here. Come here. Come on. Come on, old man. This is my guard dog. There you go. So when I first got Chuck, Chuck was a rescue dog, and Chuck was scared of the world, and he's still scared of a lot of things, and he stays right near me, which sometimes is annoying, but most of the time it's really comforting. And he scared of everything, couldn't figure it out. So one day I'm out here in the shop, and I had some Pringles in a can, and I started eating them, and he kind of walked up to me, and he was very scared around food. If there was food around, he didn't want you to be near him or touch him or anything. But I had those Pringles, and I put one, and he just took it as gentle out of my hand. And from then on out, that's been his treat. Lori spoils him with regular treats, but with me and my flying buddies that come by, he gets Pringles and he loves them, and he knows when you open the can what it's going to be. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Old Chuck's getting old. He's got to be 10 or 11 now, so he's slowing down a little bit, but so am I. So we're slowing down a little bit together. Anyway, just a little bit about the environment that you're in when you come to the Windsock. So we're going to go forward. I'm gonna probably close this video, just a short update video. And I know you're just, would you please cut some wood? No, I'm not quite ready to cut the wood yet. I do have, stand by. I do have stacks of wood for this. So as you can see, I can get two out of this piece. So I'll have to do a little bit of work to try to get the most I can, so I don't have to go out and buy much more balsa. This tip piece is 1/8 inch balsa, but as you can see, it's not. It's going to take 2 of these glued together to get the whole tip out of it, and I'll need to do 2 for those. So it's very important when you're scratch building to look over the plans, put them away, think about it, take them back out, look at them again. There's a lot of things embedded. We'll switch back. I think we're still on. Sure, I'll edit it out whichever way. But one thing you can see here is this dotted line is the actual windshield for the plane. It's on the wing plan. Kind of weird, but things you have to look for. That'll take a lot of trimming, because the way I sand up around the cowling and everything, maybe a little bit different than planned, just a little bit, so you don't get a preformed windshield. You make your own. I have the material to make that with, and so that should be pretty fun to form that around and make it look good. So a lot of things that you need to look at and look at again, and probably look at a third time before you really start cutting, just to make sure. Mistakes are going to be made. There's no question in my mind. I'm confident in my abilities to make mistakes. So there will be quite a few mistakes made that I'll have to recut something. Great thing about this is a sanding block and a razor plane go a long way. So there you go, a basic overview of where we are with the build. Pretty daunting task taking on scratch building a plane this big. But if you break it down into piece by piece, it's really not that bad. And like I said, it's mainly therapy for me and for Chuck. There, we're enjoying this. So follow along. I got a lot of stuff going on. We've got a trip planned coming up pretty soon. Got to get the motorhome ready. Huge list of things to do, but I want to keep going on this and keep some forward progress going. We hopefully the next time you come back, I'll actually have stacks, and I will start cutting things out on the scroll saw and making a little bit more headway on this. So I really thank you for following along with this. If you like it, hit that subscribe button and the bell, and that'll let you know every time I upload a new video. So with that being said, got to get back to the ball game, and hope you have a great day.